and hopefully everybody in this area is hunkered down and safe at this point. So again, we're going to keep on giving you the vantage point from here, but that's what it's looking like for now. We're getting one of those really strong wind gusts right now, so yeah, just it's hard to stand up. So we'll go ahead and send it back to you from Cross City in Dixie County. Greg, back to you. You take a look at the light posts over that way. You might be able to see that they don't have the tops of them, those glass tops. The actual lights are gone. There would normally be a Town of Perry kind of banner on that light post. Well, that's all gone, but that's not from what we've seen so far with Helene approaching. That was from previous hurricanes. They've had a couple different hurricanes hit them hard here in the Town of Perry and here in Taylor County in the last year. Just now, we are getting word that the AP Associated Press has called this race for Rick Scott. So Rick Scott has won this U.S. Senate race another 6 years in the United States Senate. So that will obviously be disappointing news for folks here. Law enforcement continues to surround much of the Trump National Golf Course here in West Palm Beach. Law enforcement shutting down one of the main roads into that golf club as they continue the investigation into what the FBI says appears to be another assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Clean out your gutters. It's more important than ever right now because if there's all kinds of brush and stuff in those gutters like this, all it takes is for an ember to hit that and light your gutters and then your roof and then your house on fire.
I heard it when the magnolia tree fell. I heard it fall. Took the awning out and took it all the way across the top of the building, laid it down in the back parking lot back there.
Just a year after Hurricane Idalia, with a new window and a new roof, Linda Evans is ready again.
So I feel like it's fairly safe. I don't see any reason to leave.
She'll be riding out the storm in her coffee shop/home.
This is literally my living room.
During Idalia and then Debbie last month, she provided an essential source of caffeine for first responders.
People were coming from out of town to help guard against the looting at night and so forth and so on, and they were all very good. They kept check on the building here. They would come by, but yeah, I had coffee, and what I had I was more than willing to share with people.
Before, she lost power for 3 weeks, and if that happens again, she'll keep the cold brew going.
I won't turn on the espresso machine, but I will keep everything cold and it'll be ready.
So she'll be sticking around here during the storm, and her window will be ready for those who need it.
The best thing to do is just come pull on the door. If you come pull on the door and it opens, I'll be happy to help you.
And people here in this community of Perry and Taylor County, very storm weary, as you saw there. They've dealt with a lot, but they've got their preparations almost down to a science now, and they really are leaning on each other as they head into yet another storm here. They have prepared for the worst, but they tell me they hope they don't get the worst. Reporting live in Taylor County, Jeff Allen, Spectrum News. It was Hurricane Helene's deadly storm surge that for some people turned nearly everything they owned into trash. Now heaped in piles like this one, you see these just about everywhere you go here in Treasure Island. Some feared Milton might bring worse storm surge. They were spared of that here, but more wind and rain that the storm did bring was the last thing people here needed.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Clearing a drain clogged by debris from Hurricane Helene. Rolando Bermudez doesn't want Hurricane Milton's floodwater to do any more damage than what's already been done.
There's so many things happening right now in the city that there's not enough people. You know, you have to help as much as you can.
He came to build a life here.
As a Cuban, I'm used to deal with all these hurricanes and stuff, but you know, this was really bad.
But what he's built for 6 years, taken away by storms.
This is one of the tools that I usually work on my clients for massages. This is one of my massage guns, so it's useful. You cannot use it anymore. Everything is done. All my tools, all my equipment, all clippers.
The salon's owner surveying more damage, more floodwater, but not what Milton could have brought.
The first floor is already damaged, but the second floor is our home, so losing that would have been a lot more. Now we just have to pick up the pieces and keep going. This is a new piece.
But keeping going is just the first step in what will be a long road to recovery.
I've worked for this 15 years and it was taken away in a matter of hours.
And it's a lot for a community she's grown to love.
To watch it be destroyed twice in 2 weeks, it's a lot.
Right now, it's unclear how that community will bounce back.
A lot of our customers lost everything, a lot of our guests that I've known for so many years.
For Rolando, he's not sure the place where he's built his life is where the rest of his life will be.
Let's go now. This was like paradise for me. Since this, now I don't know if I want to stay here forever. I don't know what's going to happen after this.
So the big question mark here for this Treasure Island community is how do they really get that recovery going, and what does that look like? If you were a business, you need customers. Well, a lot of people just aren't here right now. They've left this area. If you are someone who is staying here, you need places to shop, places to eat. All of that is down here right now, and the big question mark is when all that will get back up enough to get this community going again. It will no doubt be a very long recovery ahead. Reporting on scene in Pinellas County, Jeff Allen, Spectrum News.
By the time this truck rolled in, there were already about 100 cars lined up, waiting for what that truck is about to deliver. Some drivers lined up just after midnight. It's a first-come, first-serve food drive. Amy Wilkins is in the fourth line of cars from the front, ready to wait as long as she needs to.
It's cold when you come in the morning time, but then later on it gets warm.
Wilkins says with higher grocery prices, she can no longer afford the food she needs.
I try to add up in my head how much it costs for the groceries, and whatever is there, and I don't think I can take it, I have to put it back.
Wilkins isn't alone. Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida says searches for food assistance online have doubled in the last year. So cost of living is on the minds of many Central Floridians as we head into the 2024 election.
The economy got to get better because the prices are going up. It's hard when you have a fixed income.
About 2 years ago, Wilkins began coming to this twice-monthly food drive at Patmos Chapel in Apopka. Church volunteers load up trunks full of several boxes of fresh produce, frozen meat, enough food for a couple of weeks. Arnell Smalley says demand picked up during the pandemic and has only grown since.
When God said, when they were hungry, we gave them food. When they were thirsty, we gave them something to drink. And that's what we're trying to do here. When people are hungry, people are thirsty, we want to make sure that we're giving them ample opportunity to come through the line.
Smalley says the church went from serving about 200 families to about 600 families. Most drivers here aren't picking up food for just themselves. Wilkins shares her food with several other families.
Even when I'm ready to deliver food, I'm like, Amy, you got to do this, get up, let's go. They need it just as much as you need it.
Wilkins says because of health problems, she could no longer work as a caretaker at a hospital, but she never lost her urge to help others.
I care about people. I try to help whoever need help. Friends that eat meat and stuff, whatever meat I have, I give it to them, and whatever food I don't use, I give it to them. So it's a helping hand.
Wilkins now stocked up with food for her and some of her neighbors, enough for about 2 weeks. But with the fluctuating cost of gas, it's still a struggle. She can't do this forever. She says prices need to come down.
Some of the time when I fill my car up with gas, $50 worth of gas, and I have to make my runs to take food for other people, I'm like, God, you got to send me a blessing.
Today, that blessing received. Her future uncertain.
Without helping hands, we won't make it in life.
And organizers of that food drive say they used to limit it to about 5 to 6 families per person of amount of food that they can pick up, but now they restrict that even more just to make sure there's enough food to go around. Beth. Vicki Parker Cherry takes a moment away from her work to pray.
Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior.
And her faith guides her belief that an unborn baby's life should be protected.
The Bible says that I knew you before you were formed in the womb. And that should be the safest place.
Parker Cherry is in the chapel at House of Hope Orlando, a faith-based home for troubled teens. But it's the unborn she's also been advocating for, and she believes a 6-week abortion ban going into effect in Florida is a huge answer to her prayers.
A huge victory for Florida, for everywhere, that we are going to protect those lives of those innocents.
Danielle Talafas still keeps a framed picture of her baby Nathaniel's ultrasound right above where she and her husband sleep each night. Talafas says after finding out during her pregnancy, Nathaniel had a severe medical condition that he likely wouldn't survive. Even with extreme medical intervention right after birth,
she and her husband decided to end the pregnancy.
When you come across parents that have children that are terminally ill, you frequently hear them say they'd do anything to take away their child's pain. I was given that option. My baby never felt a day of pain in his life.
Talafas says she had no clue there was any problem with the baby until after 20 weeks into her pregnancy. She believes the choice should be up to the family and her doctors.
I've never called a politician to ask him what I should do for my dental care. I've never called a politician to ask if I should get my blood work done this year or not.
Reliving her family's difficult decision is tough, but she says it's worth it if it can help other women who she now worries won't have the options she had.
I'll just keep sharing this story so that people understand other reasons why women might have an abortion outside of they just didn't want the pregnancy. Because I wanted Nathaniel, I really did.
Parker Cherry believes life should be preserved, even in cases of rape, incest, and when the mother's health could be at risk. The new law of the land in Florida gives her hope, at least for now.
I'm a little concerned because in November, there's that amendment going on the ballot, and that amendment will do away with any protection we have.
In Seminole County, Jeff Allen, Spectrum News.
You know, during the month of November, which is National Veterans and Military Families Month, we are recognizing the service and sacrifice of those in our communities that protect our freedom. And that work often begins at a very young age. Our Jeff Allen shows us how a local high school is preparing its students for life by instilling military discipline.
In uniform, please make your way to the courtyard for a picture again.
Today is a day that only happens once a year.
We take one photo each year in the fall semester to make sure we can kind of capture the moment.
So every single piece of these JROTC cadets' uniforms must be perfect.
How are we doing today? Outstanding, sir! I thought so, all right.
Here, moving those taller to the back for the picture requires a military formation.
If you're taller than cadet in front of you, tap them on the shoulder and move forward.
Cadet Peyton Scott leading the attention to detail. And then, finally, when everything is just right, this moment in Mount Dora High School JROTC history is captured in time. Lead instructor Major Andrew Scott on why the details matter.
And building citizens is really all about attention to detail, helping others, paying attention to those little things because the little things matter. And if you can trust yourself to do the little things, you'll be able to trust yourself to do the big things later.
Cadet Scott successfully challenged his fellow cadets to carry out a collective 8,000 hours of community service in the last year.
Giving up those hours of my life just to make someone else's life way easier is totally worth it for me and every other cadet here in our program.
JROTC's goal is not to recruit high school students for the U.S. military, but to provide the students a discipline they can apply to their life and whatever career path they decide on.
High schoolers, as you know, teenagers, they can get to some stuff that they will later regret, but through this program, I eventually learned that, none of that stuff is really necessary.
Along with increasing the Corps' community service, Cadet Scott also helped recruit double the incoming freshmen to the Corps this year. His combined efforts helped him earn the honor of Air and Space Force JROTC Cadet of the Year.
Such a mind-boggling number to be #1 out of 17,000. But after that, my mind instantly went to how big of an impact this could have on our program.
At a memorial that honors 3 Mount Dora High School graduates who've died while serving our country, each day, Scott and other cadets put a flag in place there.
Peace and arms.
And lower it to half-staff. It's a stark reminder of the sacrifice of military service and these cadets' service to the community.
Freedom isn't free, so those people have to keep that freedom free for everybody, whether that's through the armed services or supporting your community here locally.
In Mount Dora, Jeff Allen, Spectrum News.
It's what it's all about, 8,000 hours of community service. Did you hear that? Cadet Peyton Scott is a senior, plans to enroll in a U.S. Air Force Academy next year as he embarks on a career in the military.